Good evening, my friends. Hope you all had a good day. Now, it's always a battle on the court between the Braves and then the Marquette Reds. So, let's just go ahead and get right into it. Let's get my introduction. I don't know whose idea this was to both teams wear pink, but you got to come see me because I was confused. Marquette visiting Gladstone. Reds are on the farthest side of the net, while Braves are the closest to our camerawoman. Now, Taylor Marquette, she's going to go ahead and send this hit all the way, and you know what it does? It hits our camera woman, but she stayed strong and saw that Redheads got the point on that one. Later, Gladstone down 8, Braves passing all the way around the world, and they're going to get it over the net. Redheads, they're usually quick to try and respond, but in this one, it's going to be blocked by Gladstone. Eventually, they're going to go ahead, see an opening, and try, but Braves aren't having it at all. Olivia Bowers made sure of that one. Redheads just couldn't quite get that one as Braves get the point. Few scores later, still in the first set and Gladstone's down. Braves able to do some passing around, sends it over the net. But Marquette, well, they love to plan. And when they plan, they attack. Salihu Ruska did that, but stop hitting our wonderful Photog guy. She ain't do nothing wrong, but Marquette did something right as they swept the night 3-0. And now let's take a look at this week's UPSSA poll. Staying at number 1 is Marquette. They continue their dominant regular season with the 27-6 victory over Escanaba, showing no remorse on the defensive side. Great victory by them as they gain more momentum going into their last game of the regular season with Calumet. Next, Kingsford moves up a spot to number 2, and Sault Ste. Marie goes down 1 to spot 3. Kingsford didn't have a game last week, but that doesn't take away from that shootout performance we saw from them the week prior against Gladstone. Sault Ste. Marie lost a tough one to Kingsley 40-6, but we cannot forget that dominant run game with Christopher Pierce, so 3's not so far off. The Houghton Gremlins coming in at number 4. They played Bark River and won 3-0 earlier this season. Only got a little glimpse of them. And a few weeks went by and they couldn't do anything because of the COVID. So that loss you see on their record is because of a forfeit. But then they came with some heat and they beat a red-hot Nagani Midas squad 13-15 in overtime. The Gremlins play good enough defense to where their offense doesn't have to score much, just enough to win. Mike Stepich is doing a great job with that team. Now on to something I've never seen before. A 3-way tie. And all 3 of these teams received the same amount of votes at 5 with Calumet, Iron Mountain, and Menominee. Now, so on to all these 3 teams. Calumet had a great win against Hancock this past Friday and have played well anytime they got a chance this season. Iron Mountain, we have 1 piece of game tape this year, and it's pretty good with them beating the brakes off of Bark River. But the reason for all of those wins on their records is because of forfeit. So I'm not sure exactly who this team actually is. And the Maroons' arch enemy this season is the color red. Because anytime they played the color red, which I'm talking about Marquette, they lost. But besides that, they beat other teams like former number 4 ranked Gladstone by big scores such as 41-0, a shutout. So being on this list, you know, it makes sense unless they play Marquette. Now, on to 8, man. The top 2 remain the same with Pickford at 1 and then North Central Jets at 2. Pickford didn't play this week, but when they did play this season, it was no question who's the better team on the field. The Jets, they just beat a great Lake Linden-Hubble team, and they don't plan on taking their foot off the gas. Last week, Munising was 3 and Cedarville was 5, but those roles flipped like a pancake. As Munising got the first loss of the season, and Cedarville just keeps winning. The Lakes stay at 4, with their only actual loss of the season being to the number 2 ranked Jets. And Forest Park, well, they booed out the team they beat, Stevenson, for the 6th spot. The Trojans are playing with a chip on their shoulder since they don't have a permanent head coach yet. And that right there is pushing the squad to find ways to win these games. Great stuff for the Crystal Falls Forest Park community. Now, we're keeping with football. As you know, Negaunee Public School athletic events are canceled through the 30th of October due to COVID-19 outbreaks, which means the rivalry game this Thursday with Westwood is canceled. There are so many things up in the air right now, especially with playoffs starting next week. But we got a chance to chat with the big man himself, Paul Jacobson, about the status of his team, how they plan to move forward. Take a listen.
We try to maintain as much of a positive attitude as possible, and knowing that we still have the opportunity of playing in the playoffs, and makes this a little bit easier for us to swallow. We're actually not allowed to have any contact with the kids right now. We've kind of left that on them. I know that we have some great leadership, and I know that they're trying to organize some things on their own to stay in shape, to stay mentally sharp football-wise. But I believe our quarantine is going to allow us the quarantine dates and times will allow us to play a playoff game on that Saturday, which is October 31st.
And taking a look at some other volleyball scores from around the Upper Peninsula, Hancock won 3-0 against Lake Leonard Hubble. The scores were 25-23, 25-12, and then 25-14.